For your next assignment, we are going to finish our 3D house model to include the following items. We're going to include the columns in front of the garage, the column at the front porch, the column at the upper balcony, the railings at the balcony, and the wood trellis pieces above the columns. We're also going to do the site work for the rest of the house. So we have the street, we have the actual site, grass, our driveway and sidewalks, oops, those right there. And we also have some additional elements here on the side. We have a concrete pad for our air conditioning, which is right there. And we have a concrete pad for coming out of the side door. We have our culverts, okay, on the corner as well. And of course we have our ditch that's formed into our topo surface right here and coming across this way. And then I added a few more site components like trees and cars just to dress up the rest of the plan. So with that in mind, I'm gonna show you briefly how to start those components, and then you take it from there and finish off the whole thing. So the first thing we're gonna work on is the column in the front porch. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go to my floor plan view, and we'll draw it in plan view. Okay, so I'm going to create a component model in place. And in this case, I'm going to call it's going to be a column category, and just call it whatever. Porch column 1. And I'm going to do an extrusion. Okay, in plan view, by default, the work plane is set as the first floor level, and that's what I want. Now remember that we have our porch. Our porch is 3.5 inches below the first floor level. So when I start creating my column, I need to make sure that it goes down to that point. So I'm in the create mode, extrusion, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle, and my column is 1'4" by 1'4". Well, let me make sure. In your handout, on the last page, you have, yes, we have our wall section, and this is where we have all the dimensions you're going to need to create your column. So the base part is 1'4", and then your tapered column is 1'2" at the base and 10 inches on the top. So let's go from there. And also our column goes up, those dimensions, 3'6" to the top of that piece. Okay. So we got a 1'4" by 1'4" rectangle. And I need to tell it that it's going to start from my work plane at minus 3.5 inch. Oops, 3.5 inch. And it's going to stop at, what is it? 3 foot 1.5. Let's see if that works. And right now I'm not going to attach a material. I'm just going to see if it works. So I hit OK, and I'm going to look at it in 3D, and we have our base right there. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm still in edit mode, so that means I can click on that and still edit it, and I'm going to go ahead and add a material. I'm going to use the same material as a house wall. See if I can find it. Siding. And it's attached. Okay, so that's the bottom piece. Now we're going to do the trim piece, this one. And that's a 4-inch trim right here. So let's take a look at that. And I'm still in edit mode, so I'm not done with this model, this component. But I'm going to create a new extrusion. And here's where the working plane comes into place. I need to define a new working plane. I'm going to click Set, and I get this window, and I'm going to click on Pick a Plane. And I'm going to hover really close over here so I can pick the top of my extrusion right there. And I want to show you that's the working plane that I just defined. Okay. So now I'm going to create an extrusion I'm going to do a rectangle that follows this, but I want it to extrude 1 inch past the width of that column. So I'm going to use my offset. And I'm going to define a 1-inch offset. So notice I want to pick those corners. The rectangle is being drawn 1 inch offset from those points. Good, so I've got my rectangle defined, and now I need to define the start point. In this case it's 0 because it's starting from that working plane and it's going up 4 inches. And I'm going to pick, I don't know, see what I have in here. Just pick another color. I'm going to create a new color, create new material, identify, I'm going to say trim exterior, and I'm going to give it a color. Remember, under the graphics tab, I'm going to click on that one and come over here, and I'm just going to select the white so you can see it. Set, it's white, apply, OK, and I've got my material right here, trim exterior, and then I hit OK to do the extrusion, and let's look at it. It's right there. Looks pretty good. Alright, so we're going to continue with the next one. The next extrusion, which is this piece right here, that will be a 2-inch. And notice that it comes in. So we extruded this 4-inch 1 inch past our base column. And this one, just for the sake of lining things up, it's also going to be 1'4" across that'll line up with this bottom base. Okay, so let's do that one. So I'm still in edit mode of this component. Create extrusion. Okay, I need to set a new working plane. So I click on that one, and I'm going to pick my plane, zoom in really close so you can get that one. Let's show it. That's my new working plane. Let's create our extrusion. We're already in that mode, so let's do a rectangle. And again, I'm going to do a 1 inch, no, not there, over here, a 1 inch offset. And my extrusion is going to be start at 0 from the working plane, and then 2-inch extrusion. With a 1 inch offset, I select my rectangle tool, I'll pick my points, but I don't want it to offset to the outside of those points, so I'm going to hit the space bar. That's where I want it, 1 inch on the inside from those points. So I click on that. We have our material for trim exterior, and we have our extrusion depth, so I hit OK. So I've got the next piece of trim done. Okay, now we're going to do the vertical piece of our column, which is this one. And notice that it is tapered, so it starts out at 1 foot 2 inches at the bottom, and it terminates at 10 inches on the top. So we're going to use the blend tool to create that. I'm going to zoom in. Again, I'm still in edit mode. Create. Extrusion. Whoop, I don't want extrusion. Let me go back. Close this one. I want to create a blend right here. Blend. And when you click on the blend, you always start with the bottom shape first. So I need to set my working plane. Pick my plane. And it's going to be that top piece. Show it to make sure we got the right one. Okay. And here we go. I'm going to offset 1 inch from the corners I'm going to pick. From here, spacebar, again, inside or out with a spacebar, and click right there. Now I need to tell it, it's going to start 0 from the working plane. In this case, I'm going to go up 5 feet, 7.5 inches. And the material is going to be the trim material. This one we just created. Okay, so I've defined the bottom shape of my blend. So I need to define the upper, the top shape of my shape. So I click on Edit Top, and now I can create the bottom shape. So in this case, I'm going to offset, let's see, 2 inches, and go from here to here. So that's my top shape. And once I have that done and I have all these parameters set, I hit OK, and I get my blend created. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Let's continue. So now I'm going to do the upper trim, which is this piece right here. It's a 2-inch trim, and it also sticks out 1 inch. Alright, so let's zoom in a little closer in the right angle. I'm going to create an extrusion, set my working plane by picking the plane, select that one, make sure it's the one I want. Yes, that's the one I want. It's going to be a 2-inch trim. Click my tool, and I'm going to offset 1 inch right there, and hit OK. So now I have my whole column set. Now that it's finished, I can finish my edit mode, and that component model in place is 1 unit. Okay. Now, I just showed you how to do the column. You're gonna do the same thing for the columns that are gonna be in the garage on this side and on that side. So you take it from there.